All right, the Daiwa Australian Open isn't just about the anglers; it's about the media coverage as well. And historically, we've done put a lot of effort into making sure the media coverage from the Australian Open is A1, because if you can't fish it, hell, we want to watch it at home. I've got Brett Habener on the line now, and Brett, you're Daiwa's newest addition in the content creation and media side of things, mate. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Cheers, Steve. Happy to be here.
Yeah, look, and anyone that doesn't know Brett personally probably knows Brett through his content that he makes for social media, both for himself, but nowadays it's Daiwa. And anything that's coming out of Daiwa Australia that looks mint, you've made it, haven't you? Because you spend a lot of time travelling around, filming and living the life.
Yeah, definitely. Spend a lot of time in the office also, but yeah, I do get to travel a fair bit and yeah, make plenty of videos. So it's really good to get to see some nice parts of the country and yeah, see some really good fish as well. So.
Well, that is the point. This stuff doesn't edit itself, does it? And I think that more than the time spent filming, the time spent editing is what makes a decent product from a jumble of random shots, doesn't it? Anyone can make a fishing home video, but you need to have it up here to create the narrative and to make something which is going to sell a product. Tell us how much of your job involves being in the field and how much is in the office?
At the moment, not much in the field for most people, but it's probably 60-40, probably more time in the office. Yeah. Generally dealing with general marketing tasks and putting together marketing campaigns, that sort of stuff for products. And then yeah, probably 40% in the field, yeah, filming content for new products, whether it be rods, reels, and then also filming like tech tips and that sort of stuff for consumers. So.
Yeah, well, I think the Daiwa fans have definitely been, their appetite's been sated during this lockdown because you've been putting out some great content with some of your Daiwa pro anglers. Now, one that you do a lot of work with, who's obviously a valuable member of Daiwa's team, is Chris Hickson. And we've had Chris on the show earlier tonight. He told me that you're a bit of a curse when it comes to bringing a camera on the boat, mate. Is this true? Are you a cameraman curse or not?
It could be said that yes, I am, and also that I'm not. So... Phelpsy managed to win the Bass Open while I was on the boat with him, and then the first time I went out with Chris, I think, to film, I think it was for the in-feet, I think the first time I went out with Chris, pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong. He lost a couple of keg of fish and yeah, had some mild breakages on a few other bits and pieces and missed a bit of stuff on footage. But yeah, during the Oz Open, he definitely had a pretty tough day 1 and 2, and then on the last day, once I left him alone, yeah, he had an absolute cracker, so it could be said that I am a curse for Chris at least anyway. Yeah,
the statistics never lie, mate. He did have a cracker day on day 3 there, and I know Daiwa tries to spend their time between the different pros we have. In the Oz Open, there are several guys. There's Chris Hickson, there's guys like Mark Crompton, all sorts of guys using the product, and must be a difficult job for you trying to predict where the fish and the wind and the story is going to be. How much preparation do you do for an event like the Oz Open? I know you've got some of your gear on the table there, but it's not just like pulling the GoPro out and hitting a button, is it? Run us through a bit of your gear and a day of yours on the water in the Oz Open. What would it entail?
It's quite a difficult event to fish because you don't want to be a hindrance to the fishermen because it's such a big competition. You don't want to have to prompt them to do anything. So everything's got to look natural, while still maintaining the ability to build a story. So it's like sometimes when I film, I use like a gimbal stabilizer and stuff like that, but it's quite heavy. But when you're fishing, when you're on the water for say 8 hours, so you fish all the way through from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then you've got 2 hours at the weigh-in each day trying to get all of the content to build a story. It's quite a long day, so you can't be carrying around something really heavy. So pretty much everything I film for the Oz Open is basically done handheld. So yeah, just the camera and a lens. The main lens I use is a sort of 28 to 75 mil on the boat. So it's not a really wide angle lens because I find like there's a lot of fishing footage out there which is quite wide, just general GoPro stuff. And I think if you want to make something that looks a little bit more cinematic and a little bit different, I think definitely having those more framed in shots definitely helps. Yeah. It's a little bit more difficult to film, but yeah, it definitely gives it a nice feel. So all the gear that I'm running at the moment is Sony. So generally I run 3 cameras on the water. So I've got 2 A7 IIIs and an A7 R4, and I run a 10 to 18, so a wide angle lens, 28 to 75. Just for mid-length stuff, and then I also have a 70 to 200 telephoto lens.
Yep.
And that's filming, other anglers on other boats, wildlife, all that sort of stuff, all that filler footage that, makes a realistic story. So.
Well, you know what? If you had an Australian Open day on the water without a pelican flying past, I'd be pretty disappointed because, the pelicans are pretty exciting.
Definitely. I think the one thing that's the hardest part on the boat is probably audio, because, especially fishing something like the Brimoz Open, it's pretty cold in the mornings generally, so everyone's wearing wet weathers, wearing life jackets. So it's hard to actually get them to wear a lapel mic because they're always taking stuff on and off, and it's really hard to actually have that audio. So pretty much everything's just done with a shotgun mic.
Yep.
It can be difficult at times to get the required audio when they're sort of hooking up on fish and that sort of stuff. So definitely a lot goes into that in the post production side of things to bring out that audio. But definitely, if you're doing that sort of thing, it's really important to have a good little shotgun mic that's going to pick up as much as possible.
Yeah, and of equally important, it's good to have we call it the muffle ruff on there, but it's something to dampen the wind noise, because nothing wrecks a good bit of fishing footage like wind noise in audio. It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it is probably one of the biggest challenges is definitely the wind noise. Yeah, especially somewhere like Sydney where pretty much high banks everywhere and just funnels the wind pretty much anywhere that you're fishing. It definitely makes it hard.
Definitely. Now, leaving a day on the water, I was really surprised by the amount of stuff that you shoot there. Like you said that you were going to leave the Australian Open with nearly a terabyte of footage. Put into context how much you actually shoot during a day on the water.
Pretty much I don't put the camera down. So I'll basically have the camera in my hand for 8 hours. So yeah, whether it be the wide angle standard lens or the telephoto lens, swapping between cameras. Probably the hardest part is making sure you got enough battery. So for my cameras here, I've got 3 cameras and I've got 3 spare batteries, and I've also got a 20,000 milliamp power bank, which I plug directly into the camera. Say if I know that we're going to be fishing in a certain spot for a while and I can keep my camera out, I'll actually just plug this in to my camera directly with a USB-C cable, and then I run my camera power off this, and it maintains the battery power for a decent amount of time anyway. So yeah, definitely that's one of the harder parts, is just keeping enough battery on a whole day. And then so if you're filming for pretty much flat out for 8 hours in a day, that's equivalent to probably 300 to 400 gigabytes of footage. So generally I'll go through 2 or 3 memory cards in a day. So
wow. So you'll fill up everyone's standard MacBook you buy from the store, you'll fill it up in one day with footage. Basically,
yeah. So everything I run is on external hard drives. So for an event like that, I'll run like a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive, all USB-C, so it transfers stuff quickly. Because you are filming so much, actually transferring all of that footage every evening, it means that you're up till midnight every night just trying to get all of the footage off your cameras onto hard drives, making sure it's all safe and good. One thing that I do when I'm filming, this is a good tip for anybody who wants to get into it, is when something good happens, I just put a marker on the camera. So basically, as soon as something good happens, I'll stop recording, and then I just record my hand for just a second. And then when you're looking through your footage, you just see all little hands as your thumbnails. So before that, you've got that there's something good in there as far as action. So
that's awesome, mate, and it's a great tip. And that was my next question. There's a lot of budding content creators out there. You've managed to make a career out of it, but in the spirit of upping the quality of content that guys make, can you give the guys that are out there a couple of tips on how they can make better fishing footage when they're out on the water? What's your number 1 and number 2 tips for getting the guys stamped up?
I think the best thing you can do is just do a lot. So basically every time you can be out filming something, taking photos, and just being out there doing it, it definitely helps in upskilling yourself. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Definitely and consume other people's content also. So, find the content that's online that's really inspiring, that inspires you, and watch that, and you will find that eventually that will translate as an influence into what you're doing. So definitely, consuming as much content as possible and being out on the water, and just generally filming as much as possible. Good quality gear does help as well. Obviously, everyone can't start out, with $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 cameras. If I had my way, I would happily have a red camera or an FS7 or something like that. But if you're going to be filming out in the water, you don't want really expensive gear anyway, because often, filming around salt water, there are chances you're going to lose gear. So you don't want to lose the $20,000 camera over the side. I'd much rather lose, a $3,000 camera.
Yeah.
Or even, a GoPro or something like that. So definitely, yeah, my biggest tip is literally just make as much stuff as you possibly can. And by doing that, you just continually upskill yourself. And YouTube is your best friend as far as tutorials and that sort of stuff. I'm completely self-taught. I've never had any training. I've just taught everything myself just through YouTube and just generally experimenting. So, yeah.
That's awesome, mate. When it comes to the edit, what's your number one tip for when people have got their footage and they get home? What I notice is people always want to show you too much of the day. Like, I always think that people's attention span is like 30 to 60 seconds. I'd rather 30 to 60 seconds of compressed all the good stuff than 15 minutes of every single wind of the handle and every single cast. Would you agree with that? Do you think that, condense it down till we've just got your goal?
Definitely. I think now there's like different types of content. So there's like that, as far as like promotional material, like for the, rod and reel videos and that sort of stuff. People don't generally consume that in a long form. So yeah, most of the videos that I'll do will generally be about 30 seconds to a minute. Yep. The average view, say on Facebook or any of those platforms, is probably only about 20 seconds. So
yeah,
you have to pack as much as you can into that first part of a video and try and get your point across as quick as possible. When you're doing like longer form stuff like, say, the Pursuit series or any of the ABT event videos, I think you have to tell a story and you have to have like some sort of emotion in there for people to connect with, because I think if you don't have something that the people can connect with, they're just not going to continue to watch it and they're going to swap and move to something else. That's
right. You do have to become emotionally invested in the character there. And what I learned from AFC is they don't always have to be the good guy. As many people loved hating Harry Watson as they did loving Carl, So you got to have your good and your bad guys in there, mate. Look, we really appreciate your insight into it. We love the fact that you can spend a whole tournament day on a boat with an angler and not even throw a cast, because most of the viewers here tonight, that would wreck them, not being able to throw a cast. So thanks for your resolve, thanks for your coverage, and thanks for the awesome stuff that you guys at Daiwa kick out. We love watching it.
All right, cheers, mate.